Hi, it's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Well, if you're one of those last-minute Father's Day card makers, I've got the card for you. It's a shirt and tie, and you just pull down on the shirt, and there's your inside. It's fun and frisky, and not too hard to make. At least it isn't after I followed the directions the right way. I found this on the internet, and the lady's name is Rajni's. Craftivity is her site, and I thought we could make this today. Before I get started, though, I wanted to show you a card I got from my friend Bev. It's lovely, and it's got this hello stamp that I absolutely love. Bev, love to know where you got that stamp. Then in the inside, she sent me this extra piece with these splotchy water drops on it. I think that's adorable, and I'm going to be making something with that. In the meantime, I will store that with my other cards. Thank you, Bev, so much. The sentiment we're going to be using, I'm not making Happy Father's Day because obviously already in the bag. So I'm going to be doing a happy birthday, and I'm using TAC Trendy Greetings, and this is, I think it's called the Angel Company. It's out of business now, but I got it after they went out of business off eBay. So with that being said, I'm going to think about getting the ink off my finger. You're going to start out with a piece of paper that's 8.5 by 11. Now, I'm not thrilled that the side of my paper, the opposite side of my paper, has this Christmassy pattern on it, but I really liked this side. I guess those are considered snowflakes, but they don't look like it to me, and I like the color. I thought it was frisky. And then I have this matching My Favorite Things color box. It's called Snow Cone ink that I'm going to use, dye ink, and this is a Stampin' Up! Old, I think it was called Nordic Noel. If you get that on eBay, I'm sure, if you're looking for it. You want to start by folding your paper in half long ways. And you want to be accurate with your fold if you can be, as accurate as possible. And you're going to want to have a bone folder for this. The other paper I used was much thicker than this paper, and it was really hard for me to navigate. This is not a hard card to make. Trust me, you know, if I tell you that, I'm not lying. So we all want to do a quick card. This is the one. So I'm going to use my bone folder and just go back over that just to make sure it's really well folded down. Then you're going to fold into the center line with your sides, and you want to make sure, man, it's hard to see that in this light. You want to make sure that you get that center fold as clean as possible, and I hope I'm close at least. Let me see how I did. Well, let's say I could be closer. Alright. You're going to make sure you can do it, but see, the problem is when you're under these lights, it makes it really, really hard to see where any score lines are, at least for me. So I'm just going to whine about that for just a second. Now you're going to fold this side into the center. It'll be a lot easier because this time you have the other paper to line it up with. And you want to make sure that your fold is as straight as possible, as I said. You don't want to see the inside if it's at all possible. We're rolling now. At least I think we are. Now, the next thing we want to do is we're going to make a mark. You're going to need a ruler. I like a T-ruler. You can get these, I think they call them T-squares, but you can get them at Staples. At back-to-school time, you can always get them at places like Walmart. So I really think it helps me a lot because it makes everything straight. Like my 2 inches, I know, is going to be 2 inches. So from your top of your paper, you're going to make a mark at 2 inches. Now, I'm on the side with the flap that's opening. And then I'm going to make a mark on the other side at the 2-inch mark. And then I'm going to draw a light line across. Light being the operative word, because the last time I did this, I almost couldn't get it to, I couldn't erase it, which kind of stunk. Now, this is one of those folds that for me was almost impossible to make. But what you're going to do is you're going to fold your paper, the top, down to that line you just made. So you're going to take your paper, you're going to go to the line. Now if you have any paper that's kind of left over, don't worry, this is going to be your collar, and I found it was not a real big problem for me if I did have a little excess there. So like you see this green right here, all I did was took my scissors and whacked that off because I didn't want to see that, just in case you wondered. Didn't like the looks of it. And that makes you feel like you've got a perfect card. The person who gets it's never going to know you don't have a perfect card. That you had a little green sticking out, but now you don't. There you go. Then you're going to take your ruler again, and from your corners or from your edges on this where you folded, you're going to make a mark at 3/4 of an inch. You could eyeball this, but I'm not a good eyeballer, so I'm just going to say for the record, for me, I would rather just make a mark. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side, 3/4 of an inch. Then you're going to take your scissors, and there's my mark, and it's on this line. You're going to cut with your scissors right to that 3/4 of an inch mark on both sides. So right now you are cutting right to that little mark you just made, and now we can erase all of our marks and lines that we made. Okay, now you've got that weird weird mark. Now what you want to do is you're going to take your paper, you're still on the part that has the open center. You're going to take this part, and this was the hardest part for me, and you're going to fold it down to the center, toward the center. Okay, this is tricky. You're going to fold it so your point ends up at the center line. I hope you followed that. So when you folded it, this is making the collar of your shirt. When you fold it, you're going to have your little point right there at the center. And then you're going to do the same on this side. You're going to fold it in so that that point, you got to wrangle with it a little bit. I made that word up just for you. It's like a term for horses, but we're using it for paper right now. I had trouble with this centerpiece. I'll be honest with you. This little center on mine, I really struggled with. And I'm going to show you what we're going to do before we go any further to eliminate the problem I had with it. It wrinkles for you, and it keeps sticking up. I don't like that. It bugs me, so we're going to get rid of it. Here's how I'm going to help you with that, because I don't like it, and if I don't like it, I know you won't like it. I'm going to put a little bit of tear tape on the inside of that piece of paper. You could put any kind of glue in there, but I'm going to put a piece of tear tape because I am bugged by that, and it keeps doing it. And every time it does it, I think to myself, there's got to be a reason I keep having that problem. Okay, again, you're going to do this and do this, right? So see how it's sticking up right there? That bugs me. That's what we're going to eliminate. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the backing off our tear tape, and hopefully that will eliminate our problem. I'm going to glue it down like that, and then we're going to put our sides in, and now our little problem isn't as big as it was. Now we could glue the next layer down, I think, but we're not going to play with that yet because I want to make sure. See, like if we glue down the next layer, it might be even better, but I think we're going to need that to do our next step. Our next step is this. You're going to take your bottom piece and you're going to fold it up so that it is all the way lined up with the top right here, and it's squared off so that all of your edges are even, and then you're going to fold it down. Now this is another bone folder moment. This card doesn't take very long to make, honestly. I think you're going to really like your results, and I'm going to do the sides too in case you missed that part. Okay. I don't know why I have that trouble with that little seam in the middle. honestly, it's a mystery to me. But as in all things, it doesn't really bug me. So now we have our front of our card so that everything is centered and our collar is in place. We're going to open our card back up. Now we're going to make another mark. Take your ruler from that center fold right here that we just made. You're going to go 3/4 of an inch from that fold. I'm going to make a mark so you can see that fold. Here's the fold on mine. See that fold? Hopefully you can. Right there. You're going to make a mark 3/4 of an inch below that on the center seam. Right there. This is another eyeball moment, but as I told you before, I'm not good at that. We're going to make our sleeves right now, by the way. You're going to fold this piece back so that I'm going to start on that mark. I'm going to fold it back all the way to that edge, bottom edge. And I'm doing it slowly because I want my fold to be clean, if I can get it to be clean. Okay. If you don't do that one perfectly, I don't think anybody's going to really know, but on the flip side, if it bugs you and you want to make sure it's perfect, then keep working at it till you get it that way. I know what you're thinking. Why do you pick these projects, Sandy, that are so hard to fold? Here's the reason. Because I can. They're hard to do, but I mean, I want to do them, and so if I want to do them, I know you want to do them too. And if I can do it, you can do it, right? Again, we're going to go to that mark, and we're going to fold all the way out to our corner. This one's folding a lot easier than the other one did. Maybe it's a miracle, a card making miracle. Bone folder. Yes, I know that's burnishing. It's not bone foldering, in case you thought it was, because, you know, I keep saying that. We're going to get rid of that mark. You can make your mark light or not at all. You can do whatever you want to do. Now, here comes the miracle part. You're going to tuck it back under, and now you have sleeves. Ta-da! I know you're amazed by that. When I did it, I was like, that's the easiest thing I ever saw. We're almost done. Now all we have to do is make our tie and our pocket, and I'm going to put a 4x4 inch piece of paper before I go any further. I'm going to put this in the inside, and that covers up all your weird lines and things you don't want. So I'm just going to put, I went around the edges of this with my snow cone, in case you couldn't tell. I did that. And we're just going to do tape runner on this. It's not going to get any abuse like the rest of the card is. The rest of the card you definitely want to use a really strong adhesive because it's going to have a lot of movement, and you don't want to have a problem with your card falling apart. Oops, I went too far to the left. Right. Ugh, what was I thinking? What was I doing there? Like I said, I'm not loving the fact that it's got this Christmas pattern, but since it's only on the back of the sleeves, I'm not that worried about it. Now this step you don't have to do. I'm only doing it because it bugs me. Remember how I said I didn't like that Christmassy paper underneath? I think I'm going to line mine, and the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to take a piece of paper I'm going to hold in place so I'm sure it's right. And then I'm going to hold it like this, and I'm going to get a pencil, and I'm going to draw a line like that, and then all the way up there. Basically all we're doing is tracing it, because if you don't like your underneath paper, I wouldn't have picked this if I had thought about it in advance, but you know, sometimes I don't think these things through, and so if you didn't think it through, I want to show you how to fix it. So then what we're going to do is we're going to go back to this part that I don't like, and I'm just going to, I missed a little teeny tiny spot, I really don't care about that, but I still will cover it up just because I can. I'll just put another little piece of paper there. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put tear tape on this. And that way we'll ensure that we've got well adhered paper. Then we're just going to line everything up on the bottom. Nope, not lined up on the bottom. Let's see, is it lined up now? Kind of looks like it might be. Okay. And then I'm just going to trim off the edges because you can see a little bit of it, and I don't want to, so I'll just trim that right off. So at this point, I have my little happy birthday that I'm going to put inside, and I'm just going to put that on with tape runner. And I'm going to put it right there. Then we're going to put this back up in, and then we're ready to start making our tie and our pocket square. Now the tie is a little bit confusing to make, not because it is a confusing thing, it's just it's a little confusing to make. So we went down 3/4 of an inch, and now we're going to draw a line across that. So that's 3/4 of an inch across. You're going to make a mark at the very top that is a 1/2 inch, so it's in the center of our tie. Then at the bottom, you're going to put your ruler down, and you're going to go 1/4 inch in from either side and make a mark. Okay? Then you're going to, from that 1/4 inch mark you just made, and this is kind of hard to line up, but what you do is you're going to go to your 1/4 inch, and you're going to go to that 3/4 inch mark that you made, and you're going to draw a line from the edge down to that 1/4 inch. You're going to do the same thing on this side. You're going to go to the edge and line it up, and then you're going to draw it down to that 1/4 inch mark. Then at the top, from your center mark, you're going to take your center line, and you're going to go down to the edge of your card. You're going to make a triangle at the top, so you're going to do the same from the center to the side. So you have from the center to the corners from the top, center to the sides, and then from the 3/4 inch mark you're going to go down, make a mark down to your 1/4 inch mark at the bottom. You're thinking to yourself, this is the weirdest tie ever, but what you don't understand is currently your tie is upside down. So now we're going to trim out our tie. And you're just going to cut this with scissors. You're going to try and be as straight as possible with this line, because this is really the focal point of your tie, or of your card. Tie, card, both really. Now what I want to do is I'm going to take my tie and I'm going to run the sides of it in the color box. So I want to kind of distress the edges a little bit, just so that they kind of have a little bit of, I don't know, inkiness on them. So that's the bottom part of our tie. And now all we need to do is create the top of our tie. You're going to take a 1 inch piece that's going to be kind of rectangular. You're going to take this piece and you're going to cut on a diagonal like that. And that makes the top of our tie. Again, we're going to run it through our ink. You know I always write all of the information below the video, so if you want to know anything about how to make anything in this, from dimensions to what I use in supplies, I write everything down there. If you know anybody that's hearing impaired and they want to make crafts but they can't find a site that works for them because they can't follow the closed captioning, because believe me, the closed captioning on YouTube can be kind of crazy at times, please tell them about my site so that they can find somewhere where they can make crafts as well. I try to make sure that anyone who has a physical limitation will be able to watch my videos and read the information below and follow along. I'm just going around the edges of my pocket to make sure my pocket's distressed as well. And then I'm going to go around my shirt, and I'm going to do it the same way. I just kind of run the ink pad over it, but you can use one of those little foam daubers if you like those better. We have the inside of our card completely done. We're going to put our collar back so it's nice, and we're going to make sure our collar is going to stick down, but we have to kind of put our tie and everything on first. So the way I like to do my tie is I like to take my tie pieces and lay them together kind of like that first, and then put a little bit of tear tape behind it so that it's in place. I had the 1/8 inch, there it is. And then you're going to want to put it all the way down the tie, flip it over like this, and we're going to, because we want our tie to stay on our shirt, so I'm just going to put a few pieces on the back just to keep it there. And I'm going to put a piece on the back of this. Now, when you are putting your tie, wait, I want to only go down about part way on my tie, on the top of my tie. When you're doing your tie, don't glue your tie in under the collar, because if you do, you won't be able to open your card. You have to be aware of that at all times, like where in relationship to my opening is my tie. So I'll show you that when we get there, but right now I only put the tape part way up, about halfway up the knot, we'll call it, of my tie, and then I'm going to lay it onto the rest of my tie. I'm not going to lay it really hard because I want to make sure that my tie isn't too long. So what you do then is you're going to put your tie up under your shirt like this. And that's the reason I didn't glue that down, because I want to make sure that I don't end up gluing my card shut right now. And I could do it. I'm sure we all could. And this little piece of that, is that in the center? Is it straight? Well, if it's not, that's the best I'm going to do. Our last steps will be putting our pocket on, and I'm making my pocket like my tie just because I thought it would be kind of frisky, but you can make your pocket like the same as your shirt. Maybe I want to do the same as my shirt. I don't know that I love it like that. I think I'm going to go with the same as my shirt. I'm going to put some 1/8 inch tape around the back, and the reason I'm doing that is, let's say that you want to put a little note inside there that says I love you, or I'm thinking about you, or you know, just any kind of like secret little message that you put in your card. I think it'd be sweet. And since you are doing this for the man in your life, or the father of your kids, or your kids are making it for their father, I think it'd be sweet to have a little note inside that says something lovely like that. Last but not least, we're going to put our little pocket on. You could always put a little pocket square in there, like if you wanted to put a little white handkerchief in there, you could do that, or a little purple one. You can do whatever you want, because that's how it works. Now, the last thing we're going to do is I'm going to make it so that our collar is going to fit down onto our background, but yet still be able to open the card. So I'm going to take the thicker tear tape now, and the places that you want to put it, I'm going to show you. You want to put it on the inside right in here. I'm just going to do this right in there. We're going to put a piece. And then I'm going to put another piece across the top of the collar and stopping right at the one I just put in. Again, we're going to go across the top of the collar. Ooh, somehow I had another pocket. And then I'm going to put it in here. So that's all the pieces we need to put in. So you're putting them only, so you have to be able to lift up the flaps of the collar to keep the card in place. And there's one other thing I might want to do, and that is, I think I might want to hold that piece down. Laying down, I'm going to put a piece inside my collar up at the top so it doesn't interfere with our being able to open and close it. Okay, so now that lays in place. Then we're going to take these and lay them down. Let's see if I can get it out still. Nope, I put that too far down. I'm going to move that tear tape back up a little bit. These are the things that sometimes trick me when I'm doing cards, is making sure that, oh, I got it stuck to me now. Making sure that I don't have the tear tape in the wrong spots. So in that inner piece, you only want to go about halfway down. Okay, let's see if we got it. You can put, if you wanted to put little studs on the bottoms of your collar, you can do that. I'm going to put my stamp on the back because I made this for you. And then we'll go to the front, we'll open her up, and we'll see what we think. All you have to do is lift up the collar a little bit and pull it out. Happy birthday. Everything's lined. It looks pretty good. And we'll fold it back up. There you have it. I made an envelope already for it. It takes about a 5.5 by 6 inch envelope, and I made it so that it's got these kind of polka dots on the inside. So there's our card and our envelope, and there's our other one. You can see I didn't glue this collar down like I did that one, and that does make a difference. But there's our cards. I hope you enjoyed this and that you'll give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Please tell one friend about me on social media. I really love that. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.